is up. I just realized I forgot to get the iPad, so I'm gonna do that now. I'm so on time today. Of course I forgot something. Also, I'm sick. I know I sound terrible, but I really do feel fine. I wouldn't be here if I was like dying. Actually, I probably would, knowing myself. Scooch that back. We're gonna scooch the water to right there. That's perfect. And then now the iPad has somewhere to go. Oh my god, I love when things work out. Also, merch is here. Mike is wearing it, and I'm wearing it. Say no to drugs, say yes to history. I hope the iPad is charged. That would kind of suck if it's not. And I think it's not. I don't know, it's on 84%. Would you look at that? I hope we're enjoying the new setup. We got a new chair. We got a new table, so we're taller now. I wanted to be able to stand up and still talk to you guys because sometimes I just like don't want to sit down, you know what I mean? And this is why you should contribute to my fund to get a new MacBook, because if I had the MacBook, I could have a slide clicker and like I can be standing and talk with my hands and like just do more shit. So this is like a preview of what you could be getting. Also, again, this is the merch for those of you just arriving. Say no to drugs, say yes to history. How are we feeling about the club going up on a Tuesday? I don't love it because it messed with my week. But there's worse things. That's a terrible angle. Wow. Truly. Hello, crop top. It's a rough day. I'm glad. I'm not glad it's a rough day, but I'm glad you want to be here. Yeah. TikTok Live can just be sideways. That's fucking fine. Class today. Iconic queen of presenting, I know. I do what I can, I do what I can. But yes, thank you to everyone that has already gifted to my computer fund. I greatly, greatly appreciate that. We're like so close. Let me readjust my screen a touch. Oh, it's blinking like everywhere really angrily. What was I gonna say? Sorry, I'm sick, so my brain is like not really here. So sorry in advance. This makes literally no sense tonight. But thank you to everyone who's donated to my computer fund. That's what I was saying, who's gifted to my computer fund. And if you would like to, my Venmo is right there and it will stay there the entire time. Also, a big thank you to everyone who has already purchased merch. Merch is here. Merch is fully live. Merch is fully dropped. There is the link to it, or you can scan the QR code. This is one of it. Say no to drugs, say yes to history. This is a best-selling piece. It's pretty comfortable as well. Blessed notifications. A wedding? What wedding? I didn't get married. I went to a wedding a couple weeks ago. If that's what someone was referring to. All right. Oh, there's a fair number of people here. We were supposed to go out to dinner with his parents to celebrate the engagement, but I told them no because I have class. Oh my god, y'all. That's crazy. I'm honored, and also, like, that's just a lot to take in that I'm more important than your family. I love it. I'm going to be so fucking honest that I love it. But that's a lot. Why class today? Great question, why class today? Why class today? Because how dare my principal not consider my live stream when planning events for the entire school? How dare he? How dare he? So we have like a parent night tomorrow and it doesn't end until 7. And I was like, oh, I could stream at 7:30. I'd make it home in time. But I was like, something might happen. I'm sure I will be super tired. So I was like, we'll just stream on Tuesday instead. And this will be the case next week as well. We have like another parent thing next week on Wednesday. I don't know if we do them on Wednesdays every time or if this was just something that he was just feeling in a silly, goofy mood when he planned this. But again, he has no idea that I do this. So if you know who I'm talking about, please do not tell him because that would be really awkward for me. And no shade to him if he happens to be watching this. I do not in any way, shape, or form expect you to consider this when scheduling these kinds of things because that's ridiculous. But yeah. Yay. Also, look at my mug. It says, which Brittany are you today? And then today I am this Brittany. I actually don't feel like that Brittany at all. But that's what I'm trying to channel right now, is my opinion. So, today we're talking about the Bling Ring. Full disclosure, I did make these slides yesterday when I had some cold medicine. So if it makes no sense, that'll just be a fun, wild ride for all of us. So let's go ahead and talk about it. And again, thank you to anyone that has gifted to my computer fund. Like I said, we're almost there. We're only a couple $100 away. So thank you to everyone who has already gifted to that. And if you have not, I would appreciate it. And if you have no money, don't even fucking worry about it. and merch as well. So today, what are we talking about? We're talking about the Bling Ring. This is also known as the Hollywood Hills Burglar Brunch. Have we ever heard anyone refer to them as the Hollywood Hills Burglar Bunch? I have never heard that in my life, personally. The Burglar Bunch, the Hollywood Hills Burglars. Told y'all I was sick. Sorry in advance for how much I'm gonna cough tonight. My merch shipped today. Okay, good. I tried to set it up in like a very efficient way so it would ship quickly. So I'm glad that that's happening. But anyway, this was a group of 7 teenagers / young adults who were around Calabasas, California that were convicted of multiple thefts. So that's what we're talking about today. If you don't know, now you know. Also, for those of you on TikTok, if you come to Twitch, the angle is a lot better and you can see my screen and like see what I'm doing and all of that stuff. I'm literally about to turn off my Netflix to put this on my TV. That's a great decision. That's a great choice. You can do Twitch on the TV if you have like a Fire Stick or a Roku or like a smart, like any of that bullshit. I don't understand how any of that works. Actually, I do. I don't know why I'm saying I don't, because I literally do understand it. But yeah. So, side note on Alexis Nyers before we get into it. So, Alexis Nyers, I didn't realize this always fucking happens to me. I pick a topic and I'm like, oh, it's going to be so fun. It's going to be so casual. It's going to be such a great time. It'll be super straightforward. We can just make fun of people. It'll be great. Because I was like, Paula Deen racism, that was like, we had fun making fun of her, but it's a heavy ass topic. You know what I mean? So I was like, the Bling Ring, super like lighthearted. Nope, bitch. Apparently, a lot of the people in it have actually had a lot of trauma, specifically Alexis Nyers, who we're going to be talking a lot about today. So she has suffered from addiction. She is now sober. Some of the footage we will watch of her is from the time that she was actively living with addiction. So I just wanted to acknowledge that like she was going through that at this time and remind everybody around here that like we are trauma informed and we're not going to make fun of someone for that. But we can still make fun of the Bling Ring situation without making fun of her addiction. You know what I mean? Like we can make fun of stuff without being nasty about it. And that's kind of like the biggest thing like I want to take away from that, because like I said, it's like you can be like, so the way Small Town Murder, they're a podcast if you've never heard of them, they say we may be assholes but we're not scumbags. So it's like, yeah, we can make fun of stuff and be little assholes about it, but like we're not going to do like a low blow and make fun of someone for being an addict and like displaying the behaviors of an addict. So like, yeah, we can still acknowledge the Nancy Joe phone call because that's fucking hilarious and she's not the only person in that video. But, like, we're not going to be like, oh, you did this. Like, you know, we're not going to make jokes like that. So I just kind of wanted to get that out of the way because I always try and think, this is, like, dramatic, but I always try and put myself in the shoes of, like, if I was Alexis Nyers and I was scrolling and I saw this, would I feel, like, personally disrespected? I think it's one thing to think, like, would I like it? Because you're not going to like everything that gets made about you. That's part of being a public person. But, like and feel personally and vulnerably disrespected are two different things. So just kind of wanted to acknowledge like my thought process on here. Why can no topic be safe from trauma? That's the question of the fucking hour. And I want to turn my light down a little bit. Do you guys like the new background light? Originally I put this on my teacher Amazon wish list for my classroom, but the ceilings in my room are too high, so you can't see it. So the light that we used to have in here, I put there, and then this one I brought here. They just kind of worked better. But yeah, I really like it. Very cute and gorgeous. And look how much progress we're making on the wall. I know it probably to y'all it looks like nothing, but it's really been a pain in the ass. I'll finish it never. It'll never be done. It's fine. But anyway, moving on to the Bling Ring. So, what did they do? They broke into the homes of several high-profile celebrities over a period that we believe to be October through 2008 through August 2009, which is a crazy-ass long time to be getting away with this. Their activities resulted in the theft of about $3 million worth of cash and other belongings. Much of the stolen property belonged to Paris Hilton, whose house was broken into several times, though over 50 houses were reportedly targeted. So these teens were making that money. Wait, I missed why are we having a lesson today and not tomorrow? Because I have a school event tomorrow. TLDR. Oh my god, look at y'all answering. We love that. So, the burglars. Then we're gonna, I'm gonna go through all the people and then we'll do a timeline and then we're gonna read the Vanity Fair article. That's just like a summary of what we're doing tonight. So Rachel Lee was the alleged leader of the Bling Ring. She attended Indian Hills, which is an alternative high school. For those that don't know, an alternative high school is basically where you get sent when like you're just really not slaying in the high school environment. Like maybe you're fighting a lot, maybe you're getting expelled a lot, maybe you're causing a lot of problems. Like generally you get sent to alternative school because you are creating an unsafe environment in the classroom. Is like a lot of times why someone goes. And then another reason why someone goes is like academic reasons. Like maybe they're really struggling academically, and alternative schools kind of have a very different vibe than a regular school. But yeah, I technically taught not at an alternative school, but it was summer school. So like the alternative school was in charge of me, but I was at my physical school. But like legally speaking, it was an alternative school, but I don't count it. But anyway, Lee had a history of stealing. She had shoplifted $85 worth of merchandise from Sephora. Who hasn't? And that's a joke. I actually have never shoplifted. It gives me so much fucking anxiety to shoplift. All my friends used to do it like when we were teenagers, and it literally has always stressed me out so bad. I've never shoplifted in my entire life. One time actually, I think about this a lot. I was on vacation. My mom gave me some money to go, we were on the beach, to like go up to the street to go buy some chips at this store. And I bought the chips, and then when I was walking out of the store, I just saw other chips that I wanted more. So I traded them for my chips. They were the same brand and the same price. They were just a different flavor. And I literally carried guilt about that like for years. I still do. I think about how I fucked up that store's inventory. I really do think about that. But anyway, that's why I don't shoplift. She was apparently with Diana Tomeo, who's another member of the Bling Ring, and this was several months before the first burglary, and I'm really glad that y'all acknowledge the fact that she's throwing up a peace sign. We also have Nick Prugo. He transferred to Indian Hills High School after he got expelled from Calabasas High School for excessive absences. So yeah, that's another reason you could end up at alternative school. In 2003, he had the role of Kenny in Little Lost Souls, which was a made-for-TV quasi-documentary about the exorcism of children whose parents believed them to be possessed by the devil. That is a crazy-ass footnote, and I tried to, like, find more about this, and I literally couldn't find it. I don't know if someone, like, made this up, but what the fuck? Like, what the fuck? Because that's crazy, right? I'm confused about what... Wait, someone had a good question. I'm confused about what exactly is different about an alternative school environment. So it really depends school to school. So like one way, my district has an alternative school and they do way more physical education there. Like a lot of the kids that get sent there, it's for fighting. So they like all of them take PE. It's for a full hour every day. It's like more intense than a regular PE, which is, I think it's like kind of meant to like get their energy out, which I think is a good thing. And then a lot of times alternative schools also, you don't take electives, you only take what's required for graduation. So in some ways that's a punishment because it's like you don't get to take fun stuff you're interested in. But in a lot of other ways, it's kind of helpful because it's like you're struggling academically. Let's focus on what you need to do to like get you across the line. And then they usually have a lot smaller classes. They're a lot stricter. At my alternative school, we didn't have homework outside of class. Our alt school was literally called Ward. They helped our resumes, and then we tested out of every class and did a civics packet. Yeah, so it really depends, like, district to district, but it's basically just there's academic alternatives and behavior alternatives, yes. And a lot of times, that's the same school. And sometimes, in some districts, they have different schools for those reasons. Mine was smaller and quieter. Yeah, so it's like, everywhere is so different. This appears to be like, people being sent for, like, a multitude of reasons, like behavior, tardy, academic, or not tardy, absent. But anyway, that fucking weird-ass footnote. Lee befriended Prugo after he arrived at Indian Hills, and she introduced him to most of the other people that would eventually join the crime spree. They initially bonded over their interest in fashion and social media. After being accepted into her circle of friends and participating in their nightlife activities, Prugo became hooked on drugs and began stealing from his parents to support his addiction. So, trigger warning, there is like drug use in this and people dealing with addiction, which can kind of make sense why they were robbing people. So you have a combo of people robbing people because they're addicts and people robbing people because they're like getting high off the thrill of it. So I think that's a really dangerous combo because neither of those people is in their right fucking mind to be able to be like, let's pause, let's strategize. Literally, So there's Nick Prugo. That's what he looks like. Pretty much everyone in this looks really not of note. Like, everyone looks like a teen in LA in 2007. Exactly. So, Alexis Nyers. She had been a part of Lee's social circle at Indian Hills. She also said she was homeschooled, so I'm kind of unclear about her like educational background, but we'll talk about it a little more. She said she got her GED. She said she was homeschooled. I'm just a little confused about everything. So, she was born to Michael Nyers, a Hollywood cinematographer known for his roles as the director of photography on Friends. So, her dad's fucking rich. Like, her dad is that guy. Like, they're Beverly Hills people. Everybody, but not everybody. Most people in Calabasas, their parents have done some cool ass shit. You know what I mean? And Andrea Arlington, who was an actress and a Playboy model in the 1980s, they divorced, and Arlington remarried Jerry Dunn, who was a production designer for television, whom she ended up later divorcing. No tea, no shade, just what happened. Haynes has said that she struggled with her father falling off the face of this earth and not being a father, so that definitely sucks. She dropped out of Indian Hills High School to pursue a career in Hollywood while studying for GED under supervision of her mother, so I guess that was the homeschooling, was studying for the GED. I don't think that counts as homeschooling. I really don't. Her mom was in charge of her education when their show started. Oh, trust, we will be watching part of the show. Every part I could possibly find. She also worked for some time as a hip-hop and pole dancing instructor. Nice. So Haynes obtained her GED at the age of 16, and Haynes alleges that when she was 16, Arlington took her and Taylor, her friend / adopted sister, to get fake ID cards and push the teens into pinup modeling, even though her mom denies this. So I'm really only telling you this to show that she is coming from like a really intense fucked up ass home environment. Like, she's going through a lot. It's like a lot going on for her, emotionally, literally, all of that. You'll see why her name sounds familiar. You'll recognize it. Haynes ultimately worked out a lingerie model, and she appeared in a straight-to-DVD film called Frat Party, where she appeared nude behind a sheet in the Marilyn Manson music video for Arma Goddamn Motherfucking Geddon when she was 17. For you, as a parent, to let your child do nudity at 17, you're a terrible fucking parent. Like, I really don't care what excuse or what elaboration you have, unless your child was going to be shot unless they didn't do this. I have no interest in hearing your story, because I really don't think that there's anything wrong with doing nude modeling, but I don't think you should be allowed to do that under the age of 21. I really don't. I don't care. Like, I don't care that technically at 18 you're an adult. I think that doing, and this is also always what I've said about like porn, nude modeling, OnlyFans, because every time a man finds out how many followers I have, they ask me if I'm going to do OnlyFans. That can be an amazing opportunity to build a career. That is also a choice that can box you out of a lot of other cool opportunities. So like anything, you have to do like a cost-benefit analysis. And if you are 17, you don't know what opportunities there are out for you. And so what I always tell my students is, at your age, you should be doing things that open doors, not close doors. And this might open one door, but it closes a lot of other ones. So I don't think at 17, you know what doors you have. So you can't do something that's going to close doors that you don't even know exist. So that's why I think you should really need to have a frontal lobe before you're legally allowed to do nude modeling. Because it just like, I wish it didn't close doors for you. And I wish that we were in a society where we could accept people who have done nude modeling and they could be taken seriously in other things. But that's not the world we live in. It's just not. I wish it was, but it's not. So I feel like to let your child do that at this age is just you setting them up to not have as many opportunities as they could. And even if you're like, I'm trying to get in her mind of like being like a stage mom, I want my kids to have all these opportunities. Even in that mind, this is still taking away. It's just very short-sighted. I really don't like it. I saw the Bling Ring like a long-ass time ago. I don't remember any of it. Me picking this stream topic because I thought it would be funny because I forgot how terribly rich people treat their kids and how many rich teenagers suffer from emotional neglect and addiction. That says it all right there, doesn't it? I hate that I'm sick. It's going to take forever because I keep coughing. Frontal lobe required past this point. I should make that into merch. So this is Alexis Nyers. This is probably where you recognize her from. Yes, we will be watching the phone call. I couldn't not watch it. This is like such an important piece of this. Like we had to watch the phone call, and it's so relevant to what we're talking about. So we'll go back to Alexis Nyers. Everyone's saying I didn't know that was her. So we'll go back to Alexis Nyers and we will listen to the phone call, but the rest of the Bling Ring, at least the people we have a decent amount of information on. Diana Tamayo, she was the student body president at Indian Hills. She also received a $1,500 future teacher scholarship. Okay. Upon graduation, allegedly her family had illegally immigrated to the United States when she was a child, which was actually used against her in questioning, which is really fucking stupid. Really stupid and really lame. And you are a shit-ass fucking lawyer if the best dirt you can dig up on someone is that they illegally immigrated here as a child. They didn't even do that. What the fuck are you talking about? That is a terrible lawyer. Just idiots. Try harder. Look at her search history. If you were a good fucking lawyer, you would have gotten your hands on that. But no, you had to be a fucking loser little bitch and go after someone for their immigration status. Shitty lawyer. So, about a year after her graduation, like we said, Tamayo and Lee were arrested for shoplifting $85 worth of merchandise from Sephora. And what gets me is $85 at Sephora is like 3 things. Like, you didn't even want to try a little harder. Like, y'all only stole 3 things from Sephora. So, both were charged with fines and sentenced to a year probation. Courtney Ames, the stepdaughter of Randy Shields, was a friend of Lee's and introduced the rest of the group to Johnny Ajar and Roy Lopez. So, there's Diana Tamayo. Pretty. Look at her dimples. I love dimples. So, Johnny Ajar, I think I'm saying that correctly, I'm not 100% sure. This is in the game. His nickname was Johnny Dangerous. It's not a nickname if it's longer. I don't know how many times I'm going to have to fucking say this. Johnny Dangerous is longer than Johnny Ajar. Therefore, it's not a nickname. So, he was Ames' boyfriend and sold a number of the items that were stolen by the Bling Ring. He is not believed to have taken a part in the burglaries, but Obbs got arrested for selling the stuff. And he already had a prison record for drug trafficking. Everybody makes mistakes. Roy Lopez worked with Ames at a Calabasas restaurant and sold stolen items in addition to participating in at least one of the burglaries to Paris Hilton's home, from which he allegedly stole $2 million in jewelry. Also, jump scare of the photo of Johnny Ajar. I just have to like deeply apologize for this photo. Paris talks about the Bling Ring situation in her memoir. It's so good. That's what gave me the ideas, because when I was doing the Paris stream, I forgot that this happened historically, and so I was like, oh, I should talk about it. But anyway, back to Johnny Ajar. Apologies to you for the next photo. And I really mean this with all the peace and love in the world, because I don't like to make fun of people's appearances. But he looks exactly the way I would expect someone named Johnny Dangerous to look. Exactly the way I would expect him to look. Like, I'll pause, because this is fucking crazy. Oh, gets me. Oh my god, also so many subscribers in the chat tonight. Thanks to everyone who subscribed. Exactly what I expected, right? Exactly what I expected. Again, for those of you on TikTok, you have to come to Twitch to see the photos. Sorry. But that's Johnny Ajar. Johnny Dangerous, if you will. Nothing could have prepared me. I tried to prepare you, and I knew it really couldn't have. No regrets. Literally, such a no regrets type of guy. Such a no regrets type of guy. I could pick apart every detail from this photo. This man looks like every dude in the trailer park I grew up with. This man looks like someone who, at a gas station, would really jar me when they spoke to me, but they would put air in my tire because I don't know how to use the machine, but I would be scared the whole time. That's exactly... I kind of want to get a chest tattoo. No regrets. I was seeing short gel spiked hair in my vision. Is this today or in 2000? I think this is in 2009. Is he in a hotel room? Like, you're right. Is that a cross? We could pick this photo apart for hours. You're really right. So then last we have Roy Lopez Jr. Him and Ames worked together at a restaurant bar in Calabasas. Ames had recruited him as a reseller, and he also participated in burglarizing at least one victim, Paris Hilton, from which he had stolen $2 million jewelry, we already said, which he carried out with him in a Louis Vuitton bag. He was unable to sell most of it. How the fuck are you unable to sell a Louis Vuitton bag and $2 million worth of jewelry? How terrible at your job are you that you couldn't sell that? I could sell that. Give me a couple hours. The only pic I could find of him was his mugshot. So I guess he's an off-the-grid type of dude, but that's him right there. I need a full stream dedicated to discussing that picture. So, how did the Bling Ring start? Rachel Lee befriended Nick Prugo when he resumed in Indian Hills High School. They bonded over their love of fashion and social media before embarking on this rampage. Although Prugo was not interested in burglarizing houses, he became Lee's first recruit because he did not want to lose their friendship. So, she seems pretty manipulative. So they progressed from regularly nightly routine of grabbing wallets and luxury items from unlocked cars to successfully burglarizing Paris Hilton's house. So October 2008 is when this starts. They team up for their first burglary against Paris Hilton. They arrive and the door is unlocked, so they just walk in. Rich people have terrible security. Terrible. So when they arrived at the front door, it was unlocked. Considering this was their first major robbery, they only stole a couple of items, clothes, jewelry, and a little bit of cash they found inside of her purses in the closet. Though this was the first time they had robbed the house, like we said, they had been stealing before out of luxury cars, and they had also committed one residential burglary before breaking into Paris Hilton's home. And this took the place at the first robbery was at one of Prugo's online acquaintances who, again, online acquaintances, like on some video game type shit. Like, what is this? Who posted that he was going to be out of town for 11 days. They snuck in and stole cash from the master bedroom. That was around $38,000. So them breaking into Paris Hilton's house is not their first crime by any means. I think really the media kind of painted it this way during this time. But these were full criminals. Like full criminals. Paris Hilton is the baby boomer. We used to keep our doors unlocked at night, you know? His friend on MySpace. Hey guys, I'm going to be out of town for 11 days. Remember when people used to post shit like that? Actually, a lot of influencers still do that. They're like, hey guys, just getting ready for my vacation to Europe for 3.5 weeks. My house will be unlocked. I do not have a house sitter. Like, that's actually what I'm seeing on the internet. I told y'all the cough was not going to be ideal. Was she there when they robbed the house? No, she was not. So they had gotten so comfortable with stealing from Hilton's house that they came back multiple times, moving on to December 2008. The second time, the door was locked, but they found a key under the doormat. Are you serious? Are you fucking serious? Their comfortability was so high that they took the key and kept it for future purposes. So, this was their hangout spot, I guess. They typically stole clothes and cash and whatever they could find in her bags, but eventually no more cash was to be found. They recruited Lopez for the last robbery from Hilton, and that took place in mid-December of 2009. So again, literally a full year later, where around $2 million worth of jewelry was ransacked from Hilton's house. Prior to this event, Hilton had not even realized her home had been stolen from because she has so many fucking clothes. It's actually insane if you look at videos. But millions of dollars of jewelry being taken was an eye-opener, and her security tape caught Lopez in the act, but his face was not visible. The cops were called immediately, but ultimately they had no leads, so no arrests were made. So this is the house that they robbed her. This is Paris Hilton's house where they found the key under the doormat. So very large house. Big house for rich people. So, February 22nd, 2009, they also broke into the home of Audrina Patridge. I don't think I know who that is. They reportedly stole $43,000 worth of items, and her security caught the whole break-in on tape, which she turned over to the police to help identify the culprits. The footage was posted online to TMZ, hoping that they knew someone whose teens, could identify them, but the attempt was unsuccessful, and the robberies continued on. So, literally, the celebrities are quaking. They are quaking. The celebrities are so nervous because everybody's getting robbed. Maybe this is when they started locking their doors. So let me pull this up really quick. This is the security footage. And again, if you would like to gift to my computer fund, we will be able to do more cool stuff like this and watch more stuff because I'll be able to have multiple tabs open. So here is this footage. I hope you can hear it. Actually, there's no noise, so it doesn't matter. So you can see, it's them, but you really can't tell who they are that well. And you can't even see the guy's face. We didn't lock the door growing up until I was held hostage in a home. And you were held hostage in a home invasion? I mean, I'm assuming it all worked out okay. You're here, aren't you? Like a really crazy thing to just drop on us. Actually wild. Also, thank you to, as we watch this more of the security footage, to Kazia and Madison and Samantha for gifting to the computer fund. Greatly, greatly appreciate it. My dad was a dealer. So many people had it out for him. Oh. Tough. That is tough. I'm sorry you experienced that. I'm sure it would have been a lot cooler and doper if that hadn't happened. I'm sure that that would have been a lot better for your brain's development. So my deepest condolences for that. Rough. I remember religiously following this on TMZ. So yeah, they're literally like fully inside her house, walking around, making themselves at home. You know. That's literally like the noises they're making. I guess they're trying to hide from the security cameras. They weren't really doing that earlier, fucking idiots. Well, I guess not idiots. They didn't get caught for a long-ass time. But anyway, I'm in therapy and medicated. I should be doing both of those things. But anyway, April to May 2009, the hustle did not stop for these stardom-obsessed criminals because, again, they're not just going like, oh, let's rob these big houses. They're strategically finding celebrity houses. For every house they broke into, their egos only grew and their confidence was at an all-time high. They eventually robbed actress Rachel Bilson. This occurred 6 times within the months of April through May, and they stole around $130,000 worth of valuables, including her mother's engagement ring and Bilson's passport. Like, y'all are just stealing shit for no reason now. Like, what are you going to do with a fucking passport? Let alone a celebrity's passport. Like, anyone's going to open that and be like, what the fuck? Why do you have this? Where did you get this? The thieves going back to the same homes. That's how you can tell that they're not, like, real criminals. I mean, they are real criminals, but they're not, like, smart criminals. They follow their movements on Perez Hilton and other celebrity blogs all the time. How did they do that 6 separate times? I have no idea. I guess because they were like rich teenagers walking around, people didn't really think anything of them or like report them as suspicious. I don't fucking know. The group had gotten so comfortable breaking into Bilson's home that Lee had later confessed to using one of her bathrooms during a plunder. To stop and use the bathroom while you're robbing someone is crazy. Crazy, crazy, crazy town. So in May 2009, Nyers and her family also started filming the show Pretty Wild. The premise of the show was similar to Keeping Up with the Kardashians, but more of like a hippie version. Reality TV was the way to fame in this era, and the Nyers family was willing to do what it takes to get there. Girl, they were really teens. They look so grown in that picture. They were like 17, 18, 19. And then the guys that were helping them, that were like not part of the school thing, they were like in their early 20s. So this is, they said robbing, go piss girl. This is the promo for Pretty Wild. I think there's 2 of them in here. Yeah, we're going to watch both of them because they're both absolutely insane. I remember this show so fucking clearly. Like, I could write down everything that happened in this show, and we're going to talk about all of it.
For these sisters, LA is their playground. But when you raise hell in the city of angels,
That was my biggest dream.
sometimes there's the devil to pay.
These are the consequences of hanging out with stupid people.
And for this former wild child, payback is, well, you know.
I am getting back exactly what I dished out, except in 3s.
What are you doing? Are you out of control?
Oh my god.
Pretty Wild. Series premiere, Sunday at 10:30, only on E!
So that is the
For these
short
sisters.
promo. Now we'll watch the longer one. That's basically the same thing.
Sunday, it's the series premiere of Pretty Wild. 3 sisters raising hell in the city of angels. And now a sneak peek of what's coming up this season.
Bam! Say it to me.
I love you, girl.
LAPD?
What?
So the case being in the wrong place at the wrong time. The defense would like to make a motion to dismiss.
The motion to dismiss is denied. I know Nick Kruger.
I don't want to leave you guys.
I'm here to be your lawyer, so as far as I'm concerned, you're grounded.
Alexis and Tess, they think that they're invincible. Is this gonna help me?
You look great.
Thank you! That's my sister!
Letting your teenagers do lingerie modeling is insane.
Oh
my God!
Make him chase after you. This time, play it by your rules. I want to leave you behind! I never left you behind! What are you doing? Are you out of control? We can get through anything together as a family.
Pretty Wild. Series.
So I vividly remember this show being on the wee hours in the morning on E. Yes, E could not have lucked out better in filming this. They only had the one season of it. This is so nostalgic, but not in the way that I miss it, if that makes sense. So I also distinctly remember one of the daughters is like a friend of Alexis's that the family took in, which we'll talk about. But the mom would always talk about how that girl's body was like perfect. Which is fucking insane to talk about your adopted kid's body compared to your daughter's bodies. And I remember they were literally doing like a nude photo shoot of her in the bathroom at their house. And her mom was like, yes, queen, you got this. Like, this is so fucking insane. The way that these people need to be investigated by Child Protective Services so badly is like, why did we put them on TV? Why did we as a society allow this to happen? So July 13th, 2009, we will be getting more the cool mom from Mean Girls. Literally. We'll be talking more about Alexis Nyers and her family, but just to give you context, that's when that show was filming, was during all of this. Prugo, Nyers, and Lee and Tamayo showed up to the Hollywood Hills with Orlando Bloom's home next on their list to be filming a reality TV show and then go and do Crime is Crazy. According to Nyers, although she was aware her friends did shady business, she did not realize the extent of their crimes and had not been involved in any of the other break-ins up until this point. She also claims that she was under the influence of drugs during this burglary and that she was not fully present. The group broke into the property and robbed over $500,000 worth of items from the actor: clothes, jewelry, Louis Vuitton bags, and a whole line of Rolex watches. So very, very high ticket items. Real life, which the better for her daughter to manipulate and take advantage of that poor girl. Yeah, this is that whole family needs to be investigated, honestly. Can't breathe ever. So this is the house of Orlando Bloom's that they robbed. And can I just say, Orlando Bloom is not that attractive. Didn't like everyone say Orlando Bloom and he was supposed to make the hottest guy? That's it. This is y'all's man? That's him? Couldn't be me. Could not be me. So August 26, 2009, the era of burglary officially came to an end after they broke into the home of Lindsay Lohan. Tamayo, Lee, and Prugo had stolen about $130,000 worth of jewelry, clothes, and valuable items from Lohan's house, and it was Lohan's security camera that was able to stop the group in their tracks after finally having facial features unveiled. Lohan's footage, along with Patridge's footage, from earlier that year, combined with an anonymous tip from TMZ, which we will talk more about, helped police get closer to uncovering who was involved. However, in the new Netflix documentary, like I said, we will reveal, I didn't realize it was on the slide, Nyers reveals that it was her and her sister, Tess Taylor, who called the police and gave Prugo's name. So, I guess Alexis Nyers, like we said, she wasn't involved in the earlier ones, and this happened, and she freaked the fuck out, and I guess she called the police. So she was the one to call the police, which we'll talk more about. Here is Lindsay Lohan's security footage. I mixed him up with Orlando Bloom when I was a kid. Maybe that's who I'm mixing him up with. Orlando Brown. Bloom, Brown? Who's that? So here's Lindsay Lohan's security footage. I think also it's no sound. Orlando Brown was in That So Raven. He's hotter. I don't know what he looks like now. Look at him. Just robbing Lindsay Lohan. Like it's nothing. Robbing a house with that many people involved is also crazy. Yeah, it really is. You would be in shock to see what Orlando Brown looked like now. I remember when I was a kid, I was like, oh, like the Disney guys. Let me see what he looks like now that we're both adults. Why won't my phone load? I grew up with the Lohans. Okay, flex. And was in school with her sister when this was going down. It was wild. Wasn't he arrested? Let me look. I bet it'll come up. Oh, he is not aged super well. That's tough. Tough. Hate to see it. But anyway, that is Lindsay Lohan's security footage that helped catch them and help the police figure out who was doing this. So, September to October 2009. After a year of invoking chaos, fear, and paranoia among Hollywood stars, they finally were made after the police figured out who the individuals were. On September 17th, Prugo was the first one to be arrested, which makes sense. And he initially stayed silent and denied all accusations after his lawyer assured Prugo that he had an immunity deal with the police and that he would walk away with no jail time if he confessed everything. Prugo gave a detailed account to the police of every single break-in, who was involved, and what they took. However, according to the prosecutors and the officers, no immunity deal ever existed. Someone's lying. I don't know who the fuck is lying, but it's somebody. That sucks. That for real sucks. Should have given up my girl Rachel Lee. She was the ringleader of all of this. So, these are the arrests. There's the 6 of them that got arrested. There's Alexis Nyers right there. This is Nick Prugo. There's Johnny Danger. Bro really just believed the cops. Yeah. Cops, it's crazy that cops can legally lie to you. But he said his lawyer said it. So that's what's crazy to me. And I'm like, was your lawyer lying to you? Like, what is this? So, some detail about the investigation and the criminal proceedings. Alexis Nyers informed police that Lee and Prugo were responsible for the Lohan burglary during an anonymous phone call. So I guess they released the footage and Alexis Nyers was like, I know who the fuck that is. So Prugo's face had been captured on surveillance at the home, and the police determined through Facebook that Lee and Prugo were friends. Prugo was arrested and initially denied having anything to do with the burglaries, but said that his anxiety to his involvement was preventing him from not being able to eat, sleep, breathe normally, made him lose his hair, and he confessed without getting a plea deal. So, 2 different stories from 2 different news outlets. Who fucking knows what happened, but regardless, he's the one that explained everything. He also told the police that they were still researching other potential targets like Miley Cyrus, Zac Efron, Ashley Tisdale, Hilary Duff, and Vanessa Hudgens. So again, like, this was about robbing them for items, but it was also about robbing them because they were celebrities. They were, like, obsessed with the celebrity. Yes, we are going to watch the Nancy Joe Alexis phone call. Absolutely. So 2 weeks after Prugo's confessions, they issued search warrants for the other participants. Lee, Tamayo, Ames, and Nyers and Lopez were all arrested for their connection to the burglaries. It's crazy that Alexis Nyers was the one that ratted on them and then they still arrested her. Like, this is like, if Alexis Nyers was my kid and she told me this, I'd be like, all right, so A, we're getting a lawyer right fucking now. B, your lawyer is going to rat on them. You are never going to talk to anybody ever again, is what's going to happen here. Like, that's how you know her family really did not know what was going on. Or they're just idiots. One or the other. Possibly both. So, Lee was taken into custody while at her father's home in Las Vegas. Police reported that she calmly asked them hypothetical questions about how it might help her if she did have information and she had shared that with police. The report stated that she believed she had removed all incriminating evidence from her home. However, the police found a coat that was identified belonging to Lohan and a topless picture of Paris Hilton left in an unlocked safe in Hilton's home. So seeing this, Lee was reported to have instantly turned hysterical, acting as though she were suddenly sick and gagging as though she were going to vomit. Other items reported to have been seized from Lee were a jar of marijuana and more than 20 grand in $100 bills. To say, yeah, I removed everything when you still had all of that shit, like, you thought they weren't going to check? Like, you thought if you just told them, yeah, everything's gone, they were going to believe you. They just weren't going to double check on that for you. So People magazine reported that the ring members, except for Lee, were booked for residential burglary with bail set for $50,000. Simultaneous, Lee was held for possession of stolen property with bail only set at $3,000. So very, very interesting. And Vanity Fair reported that Lee was charged with residential burglaring for the Lohan, Hilton, and Patridge heist. And at the time of the arrest, it was unclear whether the burglary of the Bilson residence and other burglaries of Kourtney Kardashian and Hayden Panettiere homes had been committed by the group. So now they also have this issue of like, well, we have all these fucking unsolved burglaries. Were all of them you? Like, it's kind of hard to prosecute for everything at once because you don't have all the evidence for everything else as you do for these one few. So, among items reportedly seized by police from Majjar were 3 guns, drugs, and a laptop computer with aerial photos of 51 homes in the Hollywood Hills. He was thus charged with additional offenses relating to weapons and drug possession, whereas Lee was reportedly charged with 3 residential burglary accounts. Prugo was charged with 7, each carrying sentences between 2 and 6 years, and all members initially pleaded not guilty. So, legal hot mess express. This is the only picture I could find of the stolen items. I guess a lot of them got sold, but then again, they said they couldn't sell a lot of them. So very confused as to where a lot of these went. The jar of weed and 10K of bennies would be the hard part to be fair. Tattling is supposed to have them go easy on you. Exactly. It's like you tattled and you didn't even get anything out of it. What's wrong with you? So this is Rachel Lee, paparazzi photo of her. So we were just going through a timeline, but now we're going to get messy because we're going to talk about the Vanity Fair article and each individual case when obviously they didn't try them as a group. They tried everyone individually. So I felt like it would be easier to go person by person than to do a timeline through all of that. But first thing, we're going to talk about the Vanity Fair article. So, Nyers. In the midst of all the court proceedings and the whole debacle, Vanity Fair released an article written by Nancy Jo Sales. Sales had interviewed Nyers, and Nyers was under the impression that it was going to be a piece that spun her in a positive light. The article actually gave a whole run-through of the heist and alluded to Nyers as the face of the Bling Ring, even though her involvement was relatively minimal compared to Lee and Prugo. So objectively, this sucks for Alexis Nyers, because from what we've seen, she is definitely involved, but she was not nearly as involved as some of the other ones. So for the article to be like about her really just kind of sucks for her. Hate to say it. So we're going to read the article, but before we read the article, we need to discuss the phone call. So if you have no idea what this is, we honestly might have to watch it twice because there is just so much to unpack. And again, I'm going to remind everyone, we might be assholes, but we're not scumbags. So don't make any low blow jokes, but we can still make fun of how fucking crazy this is. So that was beautiful. You did such a good job of expressing yourself. So now, naturally, we have to read the entire Vanity Fair article. Obviously, what else would we do? So the reason that she was focusing on the shoes so much is because the title of the article was "The Suspects Wore Louboutins." So the mom desperately needs to be the center of attention. I'm going to say that to my students now. Wait, what? What are we saying to our students now? Did she sigh like that for the first time? Okay, so the most audacious burglary gang, and this is again the article. It's really fucking long. We're going to read the whole thing unless we get bored. Some of it I'll skip because it's a little redundant of stuff we already talked about, but the most audacious burglary gang in recent Hollywood history, accused of stealing more than $3 million in clothing from blah, 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 motivated by vanity and celebrity worship. So this is from March 2010. This is Nancy Jo Sales and Susanna Howe. Alexis Nyers told the cops that she and Nick Prugo had been drinking at Besso, a trendy bar restaurant on Hollywood Boulevard, when Prugo got a call from Rachel Lee telling him to come and meet her. It was... Ooh, that was scary. It was July 13th, 2009. Nyers said that she knew Prugo and Lee, both 19 and former classmates at Indian Hills, an alternative high school in Agora Hills, an affluent suburb of LA. They had been burglarizing homes of celebrities, according to LAPD's report. Nyers, 18, said that she was drunk and not sure what was going on as Prugo parked his white Toyota on the road by a house in the Hollywood Hills. Later, she said she would find out that they were at the home of Pirates of the Caribbean star star Orlando Bloom. Her friends knew that Bloom was in New York shooting a movie. They researched this kind of information on celebrity websites like TMZ. They discovered the location of these homes using Google Maps and celebrityaddressaerial.com. So, you did such a great job on expressing yourself. Oh, yes, absolutely. We'll be using that with children. So, Nair said that Lee and another girl, Diana Tomeo, 19, got out of Lee's white Audi A4 and the 4 kids walked uphill to Bloom's residence, a stark black mansion. Nairs didn't want to go inside, she said, but she still followed. She told police, again, like, you're not in the middle of nowhere. It's the Hollywood Hills. Just walk away. Literally just leave on foot. Like, you don't have a cell phone. You can't call your friends or your family to come pick you up. Like, you're in the Hollywood Hills. Like, literally just walk away. You can just leave if you're uncomfortable. That is the best advice I have for any teenager. You can leave. You can leave. Hit the bricks if you're uncomfortable. So, where was I? Lee cut a section of the chain link. Oh, wait. She told the police that Prugo, Lee, and Tomeo seemed to be covering their faces with their hoodies, apparently in order to hide from security cameras. Lee cut a section of the chain link fence surrounding the property, Nair said, and the kids crawled through it. Break out that BlackBerry, girl. She said that they went around the house checking windows and doors and finally unlocked the door by Bloom's pool area. She said they went inside and the other kids started to ransack the home, according to Nairs. That night, they stole what was close to $500,000 in Rolex watches, Louis Vuitton, and artwork. What are you doing? Get me the fuck out of here, Nairs said. She screamed. Then she went outside and threw up and peed in the bushes. This is why she's reacting this way to this phone call. Again, I want to reiterate, we're reading the article that she was reacting to. So, I kind of wish we had read it first. Maybe we'll watch it for a third time afterwards. So, 18-year-old Alexis Nairs, days after her arraignment for being an alleged member of the Bling Ring. Oh, that was a photo that I took out. Sorry. So, on October 16th, Nairs arrived at Los Angeles Superior Court for her arraignment with an e-reality crew in tow. This is the only way that I would show up for an arraignment as well, so I'm not going to judge her because I would do the exact same thing. Her show, originally intended to be about her life as a party girl on the Hollywood scene, had now become a chronicle of her effort to stay out of jail. She was being charged that day with one account of residential burglary of Orlando Bloom's home. In the media, she was being called a member of the burglar bunch, the Bling Ring, nicknames for the most successful, blah, 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 blah. She took pissing and throwing up, literally. I would like to watch it again, knowing she peed and threw up. Y'all are real for that. So, camera crews from local news stations, Good Morning America, Dateline NBC, and TMZ were waiting outside of Department 30 on the 3rd floor of the courthouse. Producers from various shows murmured as Nairs, a former hip-hop and pole dancing instructor, sat calmly on a bench, allowing a makeup woman to touch her up. This is literally... I would pay to be there. I would pay to be there. A leggy girl with long, dark, dark hair and shimmering blue-green eyes. Nairs was wearing a tweed miniskirt, a pink sweater, and 6-inch Christian Louboutin heels. I have a pretty cool shoe collection going on right now. This article makes her look so bad. It's so funny. The LAPD's report on the Bling Ring states that Nick Prugo told the cops that Rachel Lee, a Korean-American girl from Calabasas, was the driving force of the burglary crew and that her motivation was based on her desire to own the designer wardrobes of the Hollywood celebrities she admired. Charged in the case are Nairs, blah, blah, blah. We already talked about this. All have pleaded not guilty except for Lee, whose arraignment was pending at this time. Lee seems like the only parents that have decent fucking legal sense. Like, they got her a good lawyer. Between October of 2008 and August of 2009, the alleged members stole more than $3 million, blah, blah, blah. We already talked about this. They are said to have tried to rob Ashley Tisdale, but fled when they discovered that she had a house guest. So, they picked Paris Hilton as their first victim because they figured she was dumb. Again, another reason people have underestimated Paris Hilton. The thieves apparently had a taste for luxury brands, Chanel, Gucci, Tiffany, Cartier. Here's my fake Cartier. Never buy a Cartier Love Lock bracelet. They're a waste of money. Prada, Marc Jacobs, Dolce & Gabbana, Burberry, Yves Saint Laurent. They allegedly stole clothes, shoes, handbags, makeup, perfume, underwear, and they also took green Sig Sawyer's semi-automatic handgun. So they also stole a gun. Tweed skirt and 6-inch heels is so 2009. She is quite literally from Calabasas. Like, she couldn't afford some of that stuff. I don't think so. I do say this. I don't know. Why would you steal someone's underwear? Obsession? Ugh. Sorry, I'm so sick. So, at her lawyer's office, a week before her arraignment, Nyers denied any involvement with the burglary. She said, I'm a firm believer in karma, and I think this situation was attracted into my life because it's supposed to be some huge learning lesson for me to grow and expand as a spiritual human being. I see myself being like Angelina Jolie, but even stronger, pushing even harder for the universe and for peace and for the health of our planet. She was sounding almost like a real celebrity. God didn't give me these talents and looks to just sit around being a model or being famous. I want to lead a huge charity organization. I want to lead a country for all I know. She was set up to fail so bad because you see her mom. You see why she talks like this. Can I also say, this is so my mom energy, like so much so. So she wants to keep stealing. So moments before her arraignment began, a news producer approached asking Nyers for an interview. She said, I'm going to make a statement on the courthouse steps. And then she runway walked into the courtroom as the cameras started rolling. Wouldn't be the first time an indicted criminal was president. Ain't that the fucking truth? I wish this kind of delusion came in an over-the-counter pill form. Me too. Me too. So, we're still in the Vanity Fair article, but they're not really talking about Alexis Nyers anymore, but they'll circle back. So Nick Prugo has a different take on the events. He said, we didn't even go to Besso that night. He's a slender boy with an angular face, blah, 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 blah. Charged with 7 counts of residential burglary, each bringing a possible sentence of 2 to 6 years. Prugo is potentially facing serious time. In October, he confessed to police without getting a deal. Never confessed. For weeks after he was arrested, he denied everything, but then he said he was finding it difficult to breathe, sleep, and eat. I was even losing my hair. I confessed to crimes we didn't even know he committed, Officer Brett Goodkin, the lead investigator, said. Confessing to crimes that they don't know about is why you never confess to crimes without your lawyer there. Because when a lawyer has you confess to crimes, they have it written down, and they go, you confess to this right here? And you say, yes. And then they do a little check mark. You should talk as little as possible. As little as possible. And that's what also makes me sad. It seems like Nick just did not have the same legal counsel as the other kids. So that's just kind of sad when someone is in the criminal justice system and they don't have... Oh, where someone said we skipped over this. It says when it says fingered, I think he means like fingerprinted by the tipster being Alexis Nyers. But they did phrase that very weirdly. So... Again, you should never talk to the police without a lawyer, and it makes me sad when people don't have a lawyer when they need one. So, he said, even though I was charged with more, I still think it was the right thing to do. I think that is a really admirable outlook. I do not think it's one that I would have. He said that on the night of the Bloom burglary, my parents were out of town. Alexis's mom had kicked her out of the house, so Alexis moved in with me. Nyers also told the cops that her mom had kicked her out of her home. Prugo, according to the LAPD report, said the reason that Nyers had been smoking Oxycontin. Obviously, it's not true, says Nyers, but then later she was like, yeah, I think that is true. She said Nick Prugo's credibility is questionable at best, according to her lawyer, Jeffrey Rubenstein. So apparently she was with him because she had gotten kicked out of her house for drug use, which again, really just goes to show that like what's on TV, there's a lot going on that we don't see. I think like even when there's crazy shit on TV and we're like, oh my God, they're getting into everyone's personal business. A lot of times they're only scratching the surface. And again, smoking Oxy doesn't really make a ton of sense to me. Miranda Kerr, a Victoria's Secret model, was dating Orlando Bloom, and Rachel wanted Victoria's Secret model clothes, said Prugo. Sorry. Lee's lawyer, Peter Korn, would say only, I don't want to participate in the media attention in this case. That's a good lawyer. That is what a good lawyer says. Lame for us, but good lawyer. So we planned to meet at Bloom's, Prugo said. Me and Alexis met Rachel and Diana. We went up to the house. Surveillance video from the Bloom residence shows 4 youthful-looking figures coming up a lamplit hill, covering their heads with their arms and hoods while walking backwards, apparently trying to hide their face from security. How would a drunk person, so sick and throwing up, be walking backwards up a hill? Prugo asked. Another good point. Another very good point. So, when they robbed the celebrity's home, Prugo said it went like this. You grabbed a suitcase, filled it up with whatever you wanted. He said Lee called it going shopping. In Bloom's master bedroom, Rachel found a stash of Rolexes, like $1,500. Alexis grabbed a Louis Vuitton laptop-sized bag, and she was rocking it as a purse. Miranda Kerr had a dress in there by Alex Perry, like a one-of-a-kind runway dress. She took that. The Bloom surveillance video shows 2 of the 4 figures coming and going up and down the hill with large bags several times between 3 and 4 a.m. The bags were so unwieldy that one of the figures stumbles. Prugo said that he and Nyers left around 5 a.m., but Lee and Tamayo went back inside because Lee said, I want artwork because I'm moving to Vegas and I want stuff to decorate my house. That's an insane thing to say. That is so an insane thing to say. So insane. So, sometime later, we're still in the Vanity Fair article, by the way, Prugo said that he sold most of Bloom's Rolexes to Johnny Ajar, a.k.a. Johnny Dangerous. According to the police report, their Fence, a thuggish ex-con and promoter at Ledoux who would allegedly get Prugo and his underage friends into the club. When the cops searched Ajar's home, they found Brian Austin Green's pistol. Ajar is now in Los Angeles Twin Tower Correctional Facility, charged with possession of narcotics and a firearm. He gave us $5,000 for like 10 Rolexes, which I guess is a ripoff now that I think of it. Yeah, you don't fucking say. Ajar's lawyer, Michael Goldstein, said, I find it troubling that Prugo, who according to most of the players is the mastermind of these burglaries along with Lee, is now implicating to everyone else while my client remains incarcerated. So, lawyer. Does she think no one will notice a whole painting missing? Rich people are kind of stupid like that, though. So it was left to the adults dealing with the aftermath. We're still in the Vanity Fair article. Left to dealing with the aftermath of the Bling Ring, cops, lawyers, and the victims to ask why. Why did they do this? Asked Audrina Patridge, whose home was burglarized in 2009. Oscar night. I watched the surveillance videos. I expected it to be these big, scary guys. Instead, it was these 2 kids. In the grainy video, girl and boy who seem to resemble Prugo and Lee enter Patridge's Hollywood homes. They pick through her things. The girl looks composed. The boy looks jumpy. They took bags and stuff. Patridge says they took my great-grandma's jewelry, my passport, the passports, my laptop and jeans made to fit my body to my perfect shape. The estimated value of her stolen property is $43,000. They started as stupid rich teenagers and only got dumber the more they got away with. Patridge said she believes the thieves were motivated by fame. Rachel Lee was a big fan of me. I was her target. She said she'd heard from cops. She's a little obsessed girl. I gotta tell you, she's gonna get what she deserves. Were the teenagers too enthralled by the stars? Asked the New York Times. They did it for the money. It was their job, says Officer Goodkin, who took over the case from detectives when Prugo's lawyer approached him with his client's confession. But Goodkin said he was also struck by the stalkerish aspects of the crime. It may be a stretch, but is wanting to wear somebody's clothes different than wanting to wrap yourself up in their skin, like that guy in The Silence of the Lambs? Neither one is normal or good, but I would say they're a little different. I would say that wanting to wear someone's clothes is different than wanting to take their skin off. I think that that's really different. Because clothes can come from a place of jealousy, which is a pretty normal human emotion. Jealousy is a really normal human emotion, actually. Meanwhile, Prugo said that he and his accomplices never discussed why. We just did it. I know it sounds dumb, but Rachel just wanted the clothes. She wanted to look pretty. As for himself, I was just following Rachel. I loved her almost like a sister. Sister. Okay. Interesting. Me deciding that we need to read the entire Vanity Fair article, even though it's like 15 slides. We're still not done, by the way, but I'm hoping that you're getting a lot out of the Vanity Fair article. It's very important. Clothes is not unaliving people. That was the thing to say. Skin wearing is also a human emotion, apparently. Apparently so. So Nick and Rachel. Don't fall. This is what I think is going to be redundant, so we might move through it quick. But, oh, y'all are just going to see the Stanley, sorry. Let me actually move this over here. Perfect. So, Nick met Rachel in 2006. Like we said, he was a troubled kid who'd been diagnosed with ADHD, for which he was prescribed Concerta, and anxiety issues, for which he was given Zoloft. Every kid in LA is on Concerta and Zoloft. That is nothing of note at all. And he said Lee was the first person I felt like was my best friend. They became inseparable, in constant contact over the phone, IMing and texting. She was a fashionable girl whom Prugo and Nyers describe as spoiled and haughty. She had troubles of her own. Apparently, she did not get along with her mother. Apparently, her mom owns a couple cumin centers. So if you're like me as a kid, you hated cumin. Prugo claims that Rachel hates her stepfather, who her mother married. And apparently, neither of the parents have responded for comment about this, which makes sense. I would not respond for comment either. Around this time, Prugo said that he was also becoming estranged from his parents. Oh, apparently, oh my God, his parents are important. Like I said, everyone in Calabasas, their parents are important. So Melva, Lynn, and Frank, a senior vice president at IM Global, a film and television sales distribution company, and the foreign sales agent for Paranormal Activity. Paranormal Activity is such a good movie. I don't even like scary movies, but I love Paranormal Activity because Paranormal Activity is like done correctly. You know what I mean? Me and my parents had a falling out. I do not wish to elaborate. I can't blame them. Whatever I've done, it's my responsibility. He said that he and his new friend Lee bonded over fashion. I like fashion. I like clothes. I like to think that I'm a stylish guy. He just dreamed of designing his own lines, as did Lee. And they talked about attending the Fashion Institute of Design and Merchandising in LA. A lot of the Hills girls went there. It's going to be on the test. We need the entire article. So, throughout the 10th grade, Prugo said that there were a couple of carefree kids smoking weed, hanging out at Suma Beach, going to parties with lots of underage kids doing beer pong, and then that summer things started to change. When Prugo said Lee had proposed they rob the house of a boy in Woodland Hills, whom Prugo knew was going to be out of town. I'm like, okay, whatever, just wanting to please her. Get me a man like that. Whatever, man. Whatever to make you happy. I'll rob somebody. I'm in the house, walking back and forth, freaking out. I mean, it's weird to go through somebody's things, but Lee said, was always very into it, focused, so relaxed that when they burglarized the home of Rachel Bilson, Lee took the time to go into the bathroom and have a bowel movement. That's so funny to me. At the first burglary in the Valley, Prugo said that Lee found a box with $8,000 in cash under a bed, which calmed him down. We each get $4,000. Like, this isn't so bad. We didn't kill anybody. And the next day they went shopping on Rodeo Drive. Prugo said that they fell into a nearly nightly ritual they called checking cars, taking credit cards and cash from unlocked Bentleys, Mercedes, and other fancy rides parked in their neighborhood. The next day we'd go shopping. We'd go to like Kitson, a Melrose boutique popular with starlets. We'd walk in, stylized and beautiful. We'd use the cards. No one would question. That is insane. I think that's the same bathroom shenanigan as they were talking about before in their defense. Meanwhile, Prugo said that he was developing a cocaine habit. He said, so I was stealing for drugs. He was also arrested for possession in 2009. And he's hoping to get the charge dismissed. He says he's clean now, just as an update on that. He says he doesn't remember exactly why he and Lee decided to start burglarizing celebrities' homes, except where these were women with like fashion sense. Rachel watched The Hills, Gossip Girls, all those shows. She loved their clothes. We started checking on celebrity websites. We'd be like a little research team. Then they drive by celebrities' home to do surveillance, figuring out how to get in. They picked Paris Hilton as the first victim because they figured she was dumb. Like, who would leave a door unlocked? Who would leave a lot of money lying around? Probably me, honestly. Actually, no, I wouldn't. I'm really good about locking doors. I am really bad about leaving money around, but it's always like $5. So, don't rob me, thanks. One night in October of 2008, he says he and Lee entered Hilton's sprawling tile-roofed mansion in a gated community. They found the key under the mat. We kind of already talked about this. He said that he found the sensation of suddenly being in Hilton's home horrifying. There was a percentage of, wow, this is Paris Hilton's house, but as soon as I put my foot in the door, I was just wanting to run out. Sorry, I'm like so tongue-twisted. So, he says that he served as a lookout at the top of the stairs while Lee went into Hilton's bedroom to search for valuables. I was sweating unnaturally. Every 5 minutes, I was yelling, let's get the fuck out of here. And she was like, it's fine, let's keep going. Lee took some expensive bras and a designer dress that night. He says he can't remember which, there would be so many. They took a bottle of Grey Goose vodka from her nightclub room. They took crumpled cash, 50s, 100s from her purses. The idea was to take so little that the heiress wouldn't actually notice so they could come back again. Hilton didn't notice until, like we said, they got the $2 million worth of stuff. We found about like 5 grams of coke in Paris's house the other night, Prugo told the police. He says they snorted it and left and drove around Mulholland having the best time of our lives. So again, this is what he said when it was like he's admitting to stuff that like they did not know. Like you didn't have to admit to the drug stuff. They didn't even know about that. I don't know why anyone would listen to the confessions. I don't know why anyone would, sorry. I don't know why anyone would listen to allegations made up by a self-confessed thief, says Hilton's rep. I think they found cocaine in Hilton's house. I'll fucking say that. I believe him. Absolutely, I believe him. Y'all don't be snorting random powders you find. Yeah, definitely don't snort random powders, but also I feel like if anyone would have safe powder, it would be Paris Hilton. You know what I mean? Like, not to glorify drug use. Big warning on that. Don't do drugs. Very dangerous. But Kim was her closet manager. She should have been all over this. Stop. Not Kim being bad at her job again. So, this article is about to go back to Alexis, so I wanted you to see the clip of her getting arrested on the show, but apparently they fucking faked it. This is actually a YouTube short that the mom posted like a year ago.
The producers decided they were going to have to shoot that arrest scene, so we fabricated it.
Hello?
LAPD?
What?
We have a warrant to search your house.
Hello?
LAPD?
What?
We have a warrant to search your house. Everybody.
What you're actually seeing is a film crew on the inside and some producers on the outside banging on the door.
Coming in now.
They're not the producers pretending to be the police.
Having to remake this was brutal.
That would really suck super bad. So that was her, like, arrest scene on the show, but it literally wasn't even her getting arrested. So stupid. So at Alexis Neyer's home in the Westlake Village on the afternoon of her arraignment, they were filming a scene. They weren't. In which Neyer's parents recount their younger daughter, Gabrielle, what happened in court that day. Neyer's mother, Andrea Arlington Dunn, and father, Michael Neyer, stood in the living room taking direction from E's supervising producer, Jennifer Gardiner, who was feeding them lines. Tell her everything's going to be okay, Gabby. Everything's going to be okay, Gabby, said Dunn, who was still dressed for court in a brown suit. This is wrong. This Vanity Fair article. God. A former Playboy Playmate Dunn is now married to Jerry Dunn, a production designer for television. She is a masseuse and a holistic healthcare practitioner. No, I have not watched the Netflix doc. Their house, which sits on a Jennifer Gardiner. Like, I'm sorry, that's not a real name. Like, I tried to get through it, but I'm really glad you brought it up. But anyway, the mom is a masseuse and a holistic healthcare practitioner. She scams rich people for money. Respect. Their house sits on a rolling manicured street, is decorated with religious talisman and floor-standing statues of Buddha, which Dunn says she got at the closing of a Thai restaurant, which is absolutely hilarious. Alexis's father is a tall man in a blazer and jeans, the former director of photography for Friends. Alexis says he'd been in the industry forever. So Alexis is saying he's not in her life, but he's on the show, which I also find interesting. Alexis says her father's been on the industry forever. He was looking rather shell-shocked, and Dunn said he doesn't really have a place right now, which explains why her ex-husband sometimes lives with them. Your ex-husband bunking with you is crazy. And like Alexis said, I had a lot of struggles with my dad falling off the face of the earth. Her father declined to comment on this. Continuing with the theme of her difficulties, she said, I had a boyfriend who was into drugs. And also herself. So, this is, again, from the Vanity Fair article. We're going to talk later about what Alexis has said about herself during this time. So Alexis's dysfunctional background was the reason why she related so well to Tess Taylor, who sometimes lives in the Nyers-Dunn household. Taylor is 20, a Playboy cyber girl, is still being investigated for her role in the Bling Ring burglaries, according to LAPD. Apparently, she's fine. She wasn't involved. I don't know why she was in this even. But Alexis met Taylor, stage name. Her real name is Adler, a dark-haired bombshell in ballet class when they were toddlers. We took her in 6 years ago, Alexis said. My mom kind of fell off the face of the planet, Taylor said on the phone. She said she doesn't know where her mother is. I feel like she's my other half, said Alexis. I love to go out and dance with my sister. They can be seen making out with each other in that straight-to-DVD teen flick that their mother literally put them in. Their mother was managing them and put them in a movie where they made out with each other as adopted sisters, which is fucking bananas. A lot of parents falling off the face of the planet. All these kids just had neglectful parents. A lot of rich parents are very neglectful. It's a very, very, very common. When you order Kris Jenner on Wish, stop. It was their ubiquity on the Hollywood club scene that got E! Interested in the girls for their reality show titled Pretty Wild. The pilot, which airs in March, unfortunately I may be in it, having been around while they were filming, includes a wild night in which Alexis and Taylor hit the nightclub Wonderland in Hollywood with their friend Mickey Alva. He's an awesome guy, Alexis says. The morning after, LAPD showed up at Alexis's door with a search warrant. In the house, the cops found a Marc Jacobs handbag, allegedly belonging to Rachel Bilson, a Chanel necklace belonging to Lindsay Lohan. Alexis denies stealing these items, saying, I have receipts for everything. The reality crew kept rolling as Alexis exited Van Nuys jail that night after being bailed out on a $50,000 bond. Taylor was released after questioning. So again, Taylor didn't appear to get arrested. She just got questioned. So it was through Taylor that Alexis had come to know Nick Prugo, who knew Taylor via mutual friends at the Valley party scene. Taylor went to Oakview High School while Alexis was homeschooled. I didn't care for Nick, Alexis said, because he took all of Tessa's attention. There was a lot of jealousy between me and Tess and him. These fucking people. Tess wanted me to be her little best friend, says Prugo. Tess and Alexis got into fights about me. He also claims that Rachel Lee was jealous of his friendship with the girls. Alexis said that Prugo told her and Taylor that he was a stylist for his father's film company, which is presumably why he had access to expensive clothes he would let the girls borrow. And that is why Taylor explained she could be seen in a tryout for a commercial for an Axe body spray wearing a vest that cops say belongs to Rachel Bilson because Nick dressed me for the commercial. You literally cannot make this up. You cannot make this up at all. Prugo maintains that Alexis and Taylor were aware the clothes were stolen and made up a story of his being a stylist as a cover for Alexis's mother. Nick really liked the life that we had, Alexis said. He wanted to live like us. He wanted to tag along to clubs like we went to, like Apple, Guys and Dolls, Teddy's, and Echoes. It was known that we were hanging out with Emily Hirsch, Leonardo DiCaprio, just like typical young Hollywood. They're literally so fucking stupid. They were the first people to brought me to clubs, Prugo allows. Later in the afternoon, Gabby and Dunn were in the kitchen filming a scene where they were arguing about how to deal with Taylor and Alexis's excessive partying. The producer Gardner feeds them lines. You need to be a stronger parent, Mom. These girls are out of control. To be a producer on a reality TV show. Alexis went onto the porch to smoke a cigarette. She started discussing the Bling Ring. Rachel's a klepto freak, she said. Her going out to smoke a cigarette and then just telling the Vanity Fair girl, like, bitch, this is not your friend. This is not your fucking friend. This is pretty wild. So as she's sitting there smoking her cigarette, she's so manipulating. Rachel's a klepto freak. She's so manipulating, so conniving. Nick always did what she said. Rachel was in charge. She started it all. Nick, he was a dude. Why would he be knocking off chicks' houses? Like, be so for fucking serious right now. Be so for serious. I told you this article was fucking long. Okay, we're almost done. I'll try and read faster. So, beginning 2009, the Bling Ring was in full escalation mode. Like we said, they robbed all these houses, blah, 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 blah. Oh, and again, we'd say an illegal Mexican immigrant. Like, shut the fuck up. Not like that matters. People talking shit on Facebook. Okay, so apparently Nick Prugo said that he did not want all these people coming in. I found it odd that Rachel would want to involve more people. Still, he participated in the $2 million heist. And again, we kind of already talked about a lot of this, about how they met the guy at the restaurant that they'd been working at, blah, blah, blah. We kind of already talked about all of this. Alexis to Nancy Joe. Oh, the stories I could tell you, Nancy. So, Prugo said the stuff was beautiful, gorgeous things. Marc Jacobs, Gucci, Saint Laurent was accumulating, and according to Prugo, the kids were wearing it around the valley into Hollywood clubs. Diana's entire personal wardrobe was made up of clothing she had stole. He said, patently false, said her lawyer, Howard Levy. Tamayo had been charged with 2 counts of residential burglary, like we said, and the attempted burglary of Ashley Tisdale's. The kids seemed to be insatiable and fearless. They allegedly kept going on robbing, even after Ardrina Patridge posted the surveillance video, believed to be Lee and Prugo. The fact that the videos of them were going wild on TMZ and that they're still fucking doing this. I was watching KTLA and I saw us and I just broke down, Prugo said. Rachel made it seem like it was okay. According to LAPD's report, the Bling Ring collectively burglarized Rachel. We kind of already talked about this. Skip. Worried, scared all the time. He's very stressed out. Lee also may have been growing concerned. In late July, she moved to Las Vegas to live with her father. David Lee was an independent businessman. Prugo helped her move, driving through the desert with her car filled up with bags of stolen property, which is literally insane. So I guess Rachel Lee was like, I fucking robbed everyone. Let me move to Vegas. So, Rachel's biggest conquest was Lindsay Lohan. It was her ultimate fashion icon. Lee returned to LA from Vegas, and on the night of August 23rd, that's when they burglarized Lindsay Lohan. So she literally came back to rob Lindsay Lohan, which is crazy. Prugo said, I didn't even want to go to Lindsay's because I had a feeling if anything was I didn't even want to go to Lindsay's because I had a feeling if anything was taken, it would be released. Exactly. So, LAPD, with Lohan's permission, released her surveillance video to TMZ. There's now 2 videos circulating, making it plain to see what had captured images of the same people and that there was a connection between the Hollywood Hills burglary. Tips started pouring in as to the thieves' identities, but police were already moving on information they had received from someone else who said they overheard Lee and Prugo bragging of their exploits at a party, and cops used Facebook to figure out that they're friends with each other, like we said. On October 22nd, LAPD released the search warrants. They found Lee at her father's in Vegas. Lee asked several officers, like we said, if they would release her if she told them where everything is. Hypothetically, Lee said, let's say I might know where this property is located and who has it. How could that help me? That's hilarious. Literally, just be quiet if cops arrest you. So, we kind of already talked about a lot of this, so I'm going to skip through this. This is kind of updates on where they are at. So it isn't clear yet whether the trial, we already are going to get to that later. So Nick Prugo was mad that he has been called a rat. He said, I'm just trying to help the police in any way that I can. Awaiting the resolution of the case, Prugo is living at home and attending the University of Phoenix online and seeing a therapist weekly. Since Lee was arrested, he says he has not had any contact with her. It was a real friendship and this whole thing has been really hard. I still love her. He says he believes confessing was the turning point in my life. I want to make clear that everything I had in my possession I gave back. It was really hard for me to do that, but the stuff wasn't mine anyway, so I'm a piece of shit for taking it. I love teenagers, so honest. So he said, I'm really trying to make amends. I'm just trying to make whatever amends I can, especially to the celebrities I victimized. I really want them to know that I'm sorry. I'm not really sure how I'm going to do that yet, but I plan on making some formal apology to them. I don't know how they'll react. I mean, they'll have to have someone in your house where it's your most personal of sanctuaries. He seemed at a loss for words. He was wearing a pair of good-looking shoes, shiny black sneakers. I asked him where he got them, and he said a thrift store, $13. So, Nayer's trial outcome. Apparently, after learning that Orlando Bloom was willing to testify against her, she pled no contest. Wait, what? Is there still going to be a live tomorrow? No, I have to do school stuff. I'm sorry. So, after learning that Orlando Bloom was willing to testify against her, Nayers agreed to plead no contest to residential burglary, and she was sentenced on May 10th, 2010, to a jail term of 180 days with 3 years probation and was ordered to pay $600,000 in restitution to the actor. So she only served 30 days of that sentence, but during her stay, she occupied the same cell block as Lindsay Lohan. Isn't that crazy? She wasn't a part of the Lindsay Lohan one, but isn't that crazy? I don't remember what Lindsay Lohan was in for at this point. Lindsay Lohan's gone to jail a couple of times. Lindsay Lohan wasn't there as long. Small world, right? If I was in the jail, I'd make them do a podcast with me. Yeah, I think DUI. That sounds right. So, here is a clip of her talking about being in jail. Again, she was there for 30 days. That's in the game.
Did you know right away when she arrived?
Oh, they were playing the news in there. The girls were screaming. It was really insane. It was from 6 in the morning on. It was just mayhem that day. It was crazy.
Describe it.
Crazy. I mean, it's unreal because, you know, it's already loud in there and it's, you know, you're already dealing with, you know, the fact that, you know, it's cold and it's loud and girls are screaming and stuff like that. But, like, they put us on lockdown all day and she came in. She obviously didn't look happy because it's not a happy feeling. It's very scary. Very, very scary.
So you saw
Very,
her.
very scary.
Yeah. You have to go through strip searches, body cavity searches. Like, it's not a fun, it's not, it's petrifying. It really is.
To say the least.
Yeah. Kind of get the feeling like these girls are actually, like, excited. And, I mean, they're screaming, I love you, Lindsay, and I want to be your girlfriend, and all this. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, the expression on
Yeah.
I know.
And we had heard that there were all kinds of, that she was verbally abused, a lot of catcalls.
Oh, I'm sure. Just as I was.
Did you witness any of that?
I didn't witness any of that, no. But, and I think for the most part, she did have a deputy kind of monitoring her area as best as possible. Because the only time that an inmate comes out is for their 1 hour a day, but they can walk around wherever. Yeah, I mean, you're locked up in a cell, but they can come up to your cell and I would have girls come up to my.
I don't know if
cell
her family had the
and just
$600K for
Yeah.
restitution, probably.
And there's nothing you can do. Like, they're not supposed to, but
And you usually have, like, time to pay back.
Over how many inmates?
They put you on, like, a payment plan.
It's like no contest to a crime that you say you had no involvement in, and you stand by
I
that.
stand by it because I know it's the truth. And eventually, when my story comes out and people realize what happened to me, I mean, people are
I doubt
dealing
she
with
is
this
as
every
well
day.
known
It's
as
not just
Lindsay.
me. There's tons of inmates that are fighting cases that have been in, you know, girls that have been fighting cases for 2-3 years in there. Things that they.
Thank you
know,
for
I
bearing
know
with
they
my
did or
illnesses
not.
today, by the way. I know this sounds
You know,
horrifying.
and it affects everybody.
In a nutshell, what happened that night at Orlando Bloom's house?
I can't get into the details of it too much because they're still on trial. They're still fighting the case. I will say this, that people don't understand that they hit these houses multiple nights. Yes, I witnessed something that I never wanted to be a part of.
What
And
did you witness?
I witnessed a robbery. I witnessed someone robbing a house whose house
You
I
were a
didn't
part
know
of
whose
it, I
house it
think.
was at the time until I was dragged into all of this, and I wake up one morning with, you know, cops at my house, and I think
When did you find out it was Orlando Bloom's?
after I was already I'd already been booked in Van Nuys. That's when I found out. The first time I spoke to my lawyer. Yeah,
Damn.
it was devastating.
You were not a part of the Lindsay Lohan robbery.
No, okay, that's another thing that people don't understand is, like, Paris Hilton happened back in, December of 2008? I didn't even know these people. My first phone call to Pruga was, I think in April, according to my phone records. Like, I didn't.
Okay, so basically just her recounting some of the things we already talked about. So trial and outcomes other than Alexis. Ajar, who had been previously sentenced for selling cocaine, initially faced 10 felony charges. And he pleaded no contest to selling cocaine, possession of firearm by a convicted felon, and 1 count of stolen property. And the property was the Rolex watch. And he was sentenced to 3 years in jail, and he served about a year. And he is reported to be back in jail as of May 2013. So it seems like he's just a crime guy. It seems like that's kind of his vibe, is crime. He was doing crime before this. He did crime after this. So the ringleader, Lee, was sentenced on October 26th of 2011. She got a prison coach. Be so fucking serious. I didn't even see this. But anyway, she has taken full responsibility for her actions. Her attitude is very much ready to go to prison and face the consequences because she was sentenced to 4 years in prison. A prison coach is, I guess somebody that gets you ready for prison. Have they been to prison? Seems like a good job if you're fresh out of prison. Prison coach, like Get Hard. Yes, that's the movie I was thinking of. I could not remember what it was. Yes, Get Hard. There's a movie about that. Abby Lee Miller got one. Stop. This is a thing. Okay, I love an entrepreneur. Because if you have been to prison and you serve your time, I think you should be able to get a job. And I think it's really hard for felons to get jobs. So I will fucking respect the shit out of people that became a prison coach. You're able to support yourself as a prison coach? Okay, period. You had the odds stacked against you. And you started a business. You turned lemons into lemonade, and I can respect that out of anybody. So, where was I? Okay, so this is what Feldman said, the prison coach. To be honest, Rachel has a learning disability. She doesn't have a particularly high IQ, and I find it hard to think she could have been the one to instigate the whole thing. She is too stupid to rob people is such a good take. I'm mad no one else thought of this. Tasia Alexis would eat that job up. Stop. That is so fucking true. So while serving time, Lee participated in a disaster relief training program called Fire Camp. In March 2013, she served 1 year and 4 months and she was released on parole. So that is her prison sentence. And then everyone else, Tamayo was sentenced in October as well. She was sentenced to 3 years probation and 60 days of community service. She could have faced up to 6 years in prison. Her lawyer claimed that she had admitted police broke her in after they threatened her family with immigration consequences. She is reportedly pursuing a career in fitness and nutrition and has credited God for turning her life around. So I guess she made some kind of deal with the prison. If only you could flunk out of your prison sentence. Roy Lopez was given 3 years of probation and was credited for 100 days he had already served in jail. So that basically means no one bailed him out. So when they sentenced him, they were like, well, you were already in jail for this whole time, so you're free to go. But if you had gotten bailed out and then they sentenced you, then you would have to go. You get credit for time you already served if you were in jail waiting on bail. He has reportedly left California for a job in Texas. Courtney Ames was sentenced December 14th, 2011. 3 years probation and 2 months of community service. She admitted to having received a jacket stolen from Paris Hilton. Blah, 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 blah. She is now enrolled in college, according to her lawyer. She enrolled in college where she was studying psychology, speech, and child development. So, cool. And then Prugo pled no contest. He received credit for a year of time already served and then furthered credit for a year of good behavior and work time and is reportedly living in Studio City as of June 2013. So he got sentenced to 2 years, but he had already been in jail for that time or in prison for that time. So, unsuspected star of the show, Detective Brett Goodkin was the chief investigator of the case, and he was approached as a consultant for the Bling Ring film and was offered the opportunity to play himself in the film. So in his Hollywood moment, but his boss said no. So that's a question in the game. He's not in the movie because his boss said no. So a potential conflict of interest was cited because he was working with the filmmakers. Because when he was working with the filmmakers, the case against the defendants had not been resolved. So his boss said no. Do we know more about his ethics violation? Another stream for another day. How I imagine Detective Brett Goodkin asking his boss to be in the movie. That's crazy. To be like, so I've been talking to this producer without your permission, and they offered me a role. Would you believe? Like, that is just an absolutely insane thing to do as a grown man. So here's a pic of him. Obviously, he's ready for the big screen, clearly. So popular media depictions. One would be this stream, obviously. I'm going to kind of skip through this. I don't know why I felt the need to put this in here. But the Bling Ring, Paris Hilton portrayed herself in the film. There's a documentary on Netflix as well. Law and Order has some stuff about it, all of that. Not just a producer, the Sofia Coppola. Exactly. So, side note on Alexis Nyers, after the airing of Pretty Wild, many unapproved images were released of Haynes and her co-star Tess Taylor on a website. Although lawyers requested that the images which portrayed the girls smoking bongs of what appeared to be heroin be taken down, a blogger declined, so they stayed up. And then December Haynes, which is Alexis Nyers, she got married, her last name is Haynes now, checked into a recovery center in Malibu, California after she was sentenced to 1 year of rehab following an arrest for the possession of heroin and a fake ID from Florida. It's always Florida. Both were discovered when Haynes failed to check in with her probation officer while on probation from her involvement in the Bling Ring. Officers paid her a visit and searched her residence, and she was joined in rehab by Taylor briefly under unrelated circumstances. She also participated in 2011, she participated in a Nick Ritchie radio show on the website The Dirty. She admitted to being addicted to heroin, Xanax, alcohol, and Oxycontin. During the filming of Pretty Wild, stating that when she was filming the show, she was that when not filming the show, she was living in a Best Western hotel, getting high and panhandling for money on the streets. That is crazy. To be in a reality TV show and then your mom kicks you out and you live in a Best Western and you're on drugs, that is just absolutely, absolutely insane. Am I just ignorant? Are these legit combos? So this is what I've seen about, like, in my various documentary watching about drug addiction. How do I explain this? Someone out there has tried anything you can think of. So when you see someone's drug use in like a informational format like this, and you're like, I didn't think that you used that to do this, you probably don't. But when people are desperate, they'll use anything to do anything. So kind of the methods and things might seem weird because, like, that's what, you know, drug addiction is, I guess. So she says she was sexually molested as a young child, which she says contributed to her drug problems, along with her troubles with her father, an incident of rape, and a boyfriend who also used. In 2011, she said she no longer speaks to Taylor, though in 2019, Taylor joined Hayes on a podcast, Recovering from Reality, to discuss her recovery from her own heroin addiction. And as of 2022, Alexis Nyers-Haynes has said that she has been sober for 11 years. So she got sober at 19 years old after facing 6 years in California State Prison due to her addiction. She started school while she was in treatment, and she became certified to become a licensed drug and alcohol counselor. And then in 2013, she started working as a columnist for Vice, covering youth addiction and recovery. She appeared in a documentary on Vice focusing on the heroin epidemic among youth of the LA area, specifically to show how the human face of those in active addiction and hear their personal stories. She is now a counselor at a recovery center and has a podcast called Recovering from Reality, and she has also worked as a doula. So seems like she has really, really turned her life around. It seems like she was really in a tough situation, and I feel really, really bad for her that she was in this. And I gotta appreciate all of you for being assholes but not scumbags and letting us make fun of the phone call without making fun of her. I think it's possible to make fun of a funny situation without making fun of the person in the situation. So this is how she overcame opioid addiction. This is her on The Doctors.
Joining us now is Alexis Haynes, and for the record, that was beautiful.
Sure you can hear my
You just
snot.
came out here and said you shouldn't have brought me out here
Oh.
while you were talking about my kids, and I think that just highlights how your priorities have changed over time. How long have you been sober now?
December 1st, 2010 was the last time I used heroin.
And so I was alluding earlier to how we're not going to solve this crisis that you were embedded in totality, but each individual has a chance. And here you are, a shining example of turning your life around from the time when, you know, a $10,000 a week habit.
Wow.
$10,000 a week.
$10,000 a week, you can get anything you want.
Yeah.
But if a pill on the street costs
Her
$80
voice being the same.
and heroin costs $5 or $10, what is that
Well,
like?
not quite 5 or 10, but yeah.
Well, but I don't know. But tell me about that. Tell me
So
about
glad
how
she turned it around.
that switch occurs where, you know what, you feel like maybe you're in control because it's a prescription medicine. How does that switch actually occur?
Yeah, so the two things that I think are really important to talk about is, one, that your tolerance goes up significantly. So I started using just one oxy or one Vicodin or one oxycodone, and that didn't do it for me anymore. It didn't numb the pain. It had
I hate the
a history
doctors.
of
I know,
really
but I like to
severe
interview here.
sexual early childhood trauma. My parents divorced early, a lot of addiction in my family. I mean, it was like the perfect recipe for self-medicating when you don't have the resources to heal from that trauma.
When was the first time you decided, you know what, I need more and more, and I'm gonna start using I'm just gonna try heroin, see what happens.
It was
here.
pretty much immediate. So the first time that I was offered an oxy, I fell in love. I mean, that was the end for me. And
So honest. Love that.
I told
This
myself,
is why I never
you know,
take
you're a
prescription
smart girl,
painkillers
you'll
from
never go to
doctors because I
heroin.
know
You'll
myself.
never use dope. That's a dirty drug. And what I found is that the majority of my suburban friends who started using oxy with me were then using heroin much faster than I was because they didn't have the financial means to continue with an oxy habit. So now I had a resource to using heroin. It was readily available, and I started smoking heroin. My addiction progressed really quickly. So I started using.
Also, side note, one thing that really scared me away from doing drugs, if anyone has teens that they want to scare from doing drugs, when I was like 17, I worked at this restaurant, and this girl that worked there, she was like, oh, do you like do any drugs? Do you smoke? Do you take pills? Whatever. And I was like, no, sometimes I like drink a little bit, but I don't do any of that stuff. And she was like, okay, that's really good. You shouldn't do any of that. And she was like, and I just want to tell you that I used to be addicted to heroin, and you can screw around and try whatever you want, but just know that if you ever do heroin, the only thing you will think about every day for the rest of your life is how much you miss heroin. And she had been like sober for years, and she was like, I wake up every day thinking about how much I want to do heroin. And like, she literally scared me so bad off not doing like anything. So really good strategy if you have a teen that you're worried about, have them talk to someone who's experienced this.
Pain pills on and off when I was 14. By the time I was 16, I was a regular user. By the time I was 19, I got sober, and I'm 26 now.
And I have a feeling that your family plays such a huge role in your continued sobriety and
It
your
really
motivation.
does. I'm so lucky. My husband is so supportive. We are each other's, you know, like biggest. We root for each other all the time. It's amazing.
She has kids now.
I've been on, when I was first dating Evan, he was opening Aloe, which is the treatment center that he and his business partner Jared own. And together with the help
So
of
grateful I'm
followers,
allergic to opioids.
we have made this program that really is so helpful for young people. That's kind of what we specialize in. We have a professionals program, but we really specialize in treating young people. It is so important. It is needed. And
okay, so there's more of her talking about her stuff, but it has already been almost 2 hours, so I wanted to speed this along. These were my sources. A lot of what we talked about came from that actual Vanity Fair article. I wonder if she's ever said you go girl to them. She's actually a slay. So I think that's the biggest takeaway, is that Alexis Nyers is like actually really inspirational. This stream took like a really different turn than I expected, but I think it's really, really cool. She's gay now too. Fun fact. What? Is that true? But anyway, it took an interesting turn. I wasn't expecting it to go here, but I'm really glad that we talked about this. It was a cool stream. Next week, we will also be streaming on Tuesday because I have a school thing again on Wednesday. Next week, we will be talking about Martha Stewart. I haven't really decided what, but I don't know much about her criminal case. I know it was for insider trading, but I don't know that much stuff. So I'm really excited to learn more about this. And it'll be on Tuesday again. But let's go ahead and get into this shit and let's play the game. So let me make this a join. And I use Nearpod with my students every day still. I have a different account. I don't use this account with them. I have one. My school pays for it, which is dope that I have it at school for free. But here, I'm about to drop the link. There you go. So next time they complain, I wish I could just be like, y'all don't even know that people on the internet love when I do this. Y'all don't even know. Which game do you want to play? Sports? What game do we want to play? Tuesday's your birthday? Yay! Happy birthday. Happy early birthday. Also, for those of you on TikTok, you're going bye-bye now. Love you so much. TTYL. I don't see anyone telling me what game, so we'll do the Himalaya one. We never do that one. Oh, wait, beach, because it's LA. You're right. Okay, so I'll let you pick your little character, people. It's 10 trivia questions about what we talked about tonight. Glad everyone agrees on beach, because I already did it. That's one thing I hate about the lag. I'm going to look this up, if Alexis Nyers is now gay. My phone is so slow. You know what I find hilarious? This is, again, so my mom energy. So when I was a teenager, she would never buy me a phone. She was like, you have to buy that. Like, I'm not buying that for you. That's way too much money to spend on a birthday present, whatever. And, like, that's back when phones were, like, $200, $300. She would never buy them for me, ever. Which I'm not mad at her for. I think it built character, having to buy my own iPhone. But now, I told her, I was like, oh, I need to buy a new phone. Mine keeps fucking up. And she was like, oh, I'll buy it for you. And I was like, when have you ever bought me a phone? And she was like, well, you were a kid. Now I want to support your career, and you use your phone to make money. And I was like, all right, Kris Jenner. Alrighty, girl. Sis Nyers. Is she gay? It says you're average queer in her Instagram bio. Oh, this from 2021. It says she's in an open marriage and has a new girlfriend. Interesting. Okay, you're right. Interesting, interesting. Cool, cool. Open marriage slay. All right, I'll give people a couple more seconds to join, and then we will play our freaking trivia game. Alrighty. I'll paste it one more time. And again, big thank you to everyone who has gifted to my computer fund. We are super, super, super close to being there. Appreciate. All right, I'm going to go ahead and hit start. Boom. Open marriages are so fascinating to me. What are the rules? It's different in every open marriage, and I can confidently say I would rather get hit by a truck than be in an open marriage. I'm gonna be silent all day at work tomorrow. My throat hurts. Worth it though. You're so real for that. Thanks. And thank you to everyone who has gotten merch. Say no to drugs, say yes to history. You can't see me and I don't want to fall backwards, but there it is. Does sports bras have good coverage? Yes. Let me go get one real quick. I'll be right back. Oh, ow. Do I even have one in here? I'll go get one. Keep playing. Okay, I'm back. Told you I would be fast. I don't want to put it on camera because I'm afraid my boob is going to pop out. So I'll put it on off camera and then I'll walk there and show you what it looks like over my clothes. So keep in mind I have 2 bras on right now, so it's affecting things. But this is the coverage of the sports bra. Like, it's a real sports bra. It's not like a stupid little bullshit sports bra. Let me go in this way. So you can see, the sports bra, it's like a real sports bra. Here, now I'll take this one off. This is some real misredacted intel y'all are getting right now. Okay. Who was the first celebrity robbed? Multitasking. Again, I don't want to do that on camera. I feel like just something's gonna go wrong and it's gonna be memorialized on the internet forever. Okay. Oh, that totally would have gone fine to do, but you never know. So, here's the sports bra, just to give you context. Here's the back with my back knee. Great. We love. We love, we love, we love. This is a extra large, I think. And I wear like a, I don't know, like a 36D. Is it supportive? I give it a solid 8 out of 10. It has like a full band right here. And it has like boob pads in it. But it's not the most supportive sports bra I own. If I had to tell you the truth, which I always will. Is the black tote lined on the inside? No, the black ones are not lined on the inside, unfortunately. The white one is, though. Who was the first to be arrested? I don't even remember this. I think it was Nick. If anyone wants to get together in Austin, Texas, I'm tempted to start a watch group at one of the bars. I desperately need to leave my house to watch these because my family gives me no peace. Y'all can message me on TikTok. Maybe we can plan something. That would actually make me so happy if people did a watch party, like at a bar or at someone's house or like a park, like literally anywhere. Who interviewed Alexis Nyers? I have a cut on the back of my leg. I just felt it. Do your students watch your streams? No, I don't think so. They see me an hour and a half a day. I'm sure that's more than enough for them. I'm sure that is more than enough time for them. How long did Alexis serve? I mean, she's always serving, but you know what I mean. In jail. Did I make a typo? Yeah, not 30 yeets. 30 yeets is not a unit of time. The directors got jealous. It's a valid take. He was just so good that they got jealous. And what are we learning about next week? Could you imagine a boob pop out in there on live? Exactly. That's what I have to be mindful of nowadays. Is I have to think, like, imagine I get called into my principal's office and he puts this on. That's what you got to think about. There was a typo on question 9. So sorry about that. And next week, yes, we're learning about Martha Stewart. Nice job, nice job. Brown BB shoes in first, an IKEA cafeteria, dead cowboy, lavender scented trash bag, hailstorm hay, Sammy B, Rachel, you go girl, balls to the walls, a Nancy jail parking lot, CJ, Alexis's BB shoes, your favorite cowboy, Moop, and asparagus dino nugget. Nice job, nice job. I will scroll through the rest. Alexis's kitten heels. 4-inch brown BB shoes. All right. Nice job, nice job. So, this was so fun. I hope you join me next week for Martha Stewart. This stream was really different than I expected, but was still a really cool topic nonetheless. So again, thank you for being here. I hope you like the new setup. I'm really excited to finish this shit up. And I have a cool sign that's going to go right there. So, thank you so much for being here. Sorry that I sound a little funny and I was coughing a lot, but whatever. But this is the best part of my week, so I didn't want to skip it. And this is the funny thing. Okay, so because I don't feel good, I was going to call out of work today because I don't have any sick time, but I was like, y'all don't pay me enough for me to worry about that. So I was going to call out, and then I was like, no, because I really want to stream. And if I don't go to work, but I still do my stream and someone finds out, that looks so bad. So I was like, you got to muscle through it and you just got to do both. And zero regrets, because honestly, I felt a lot better like an hour after I got up. So Rachel Lee at the Bling Ring houses while they were actively robbing celebrities. Nancy Jo fixing to drop the Vanity Fair article on an unsuspecting Alexis Nyers. That was it was beautiful. You did such a good job expressing yourself. I want to rob. Orlando Bloom and Troy. All right, I have to go. I need to go drink some tea or something. Have a great night. See you next week. Again, will be Tuesday again. Thank you for being here.